Git and GitHub part. So their role and the basic things and basic command or syntax we use to work with Git. So before starting with Git, so where exactly you will encounter with Git and GitHub thing. So when you are working in any project, so for example, when you do sign up or login in Gmail thing, so you see this website thing. So for you, this is only a website where you have to provide your email ID and password to log in to your Gmail account. But for example, to develop this feature, for example, in perspective with the dev side, so you have to develop the entire feature. Entire feature means each button, like for example, the option to provide the email or phone number is a feature. If you click on the forget email, it will pop up or jump to a new web page or new website where you have to provide the email ID to go with other option to sign in. So this is also one feature. Same way, whatever button you are able that is clickable is a feature in this particular page thing. So to develop those things in the backend, there is a code written. So for example, if you are going to click on next, at the backend you are saying like after the user will click on the next button, that will go into the next page thing, and based on that every condition should be fulfilled. So this is the backend thing, like so everything on the web page has a backend code. So what I'm trying to say, for example, if I'm saying you three have to develop this feature, like you have to develop a Gmail login portal thing. So to develop this entire portal thing, so there are 5 and 6 features. So consider this email, providing email user ID is one feature, forget email button is second feature, next is third feature, and create account is fourth feature. Okay, so I have divided one feature to each user. So for example, Akshata will do this email thing, Vinita will do this forget email thing, and Janvi will do next thing, and Sagar will do create account thing. So whenever you are writing any code or any script to cover those features, so at the end every code should merge to a single point. So whatever the changes you are making, how I can track up to, like for example, you have started this project from today onwards, and after 1 week or 2 week, if I have to track your work progress, okay, you have implemented these features, and when you have modified any code in the existing scripting, so that we have to track, or we have to track the entire progress thing. So there we have a Git thing. So Git is basically a version control system. It means if you are modifying any files or doing any changes, adding new files, deleting any files, adding more codes, any changes you are modifying, so we can easily track your progress thing using Git thing. And so Git version control system, basically it is a tool to use to track the changes in the code, whatever anyone is making, like whether a developer is making or you are making, we can track those changes thing. So why Git is preferred more? Because this is most popular and free open source. So you can have, like you can create your account on GitHub thing, and you can start uh, keeping all your codes and do all the changes whatever you want. And this is fast and scalable because on single project. So let's example, if we say, so for this particular thing, we were saying there was 4 feature: feature 1, feature 2, feature 3, and feature 4. Okay, so everyone is covering their feature, and at the end they are going to push all the changes to a single point. Single point is this entire page. So initially when one person will push the changes, we will have on this page at only this particular feature thing. Okay, when the second person will push their changes, we will have this particular button thing also. The third person will push the changes, then we will have this button thing also in the web page, and the fourth person, when they complete their task, we will have this button on the web page. It means like all the persons are working individually at their own level, but at the end we have, the target is to compile all the codes at a single point, so we will have the entire workspace thing. Okay, so So this is the part of Git thing. So Git has different uh, command thing to how you can do the access the any repository, how you can clone the repository, how you can do the changes, and how you can push from local to remote thing. So we will learn all the terminology in the coming slide. Next thing is GitHub. So Git is like a version control thing which is used to track the changes in the code. GitHub is the platform, or you can say a website, which allows users to store and manage their code and files. Okay, so you have heard many times GitHub thing. So like GitHub, like if you are working on any package, or for example you are looking for some codes which are already available or developed by some other scientist or some developers, so you can directly go to their GitHub page because they have provided all the source code on the GitHub page. You can go and read all the documentation, like how they are running the code, what exactly the pre-requirement to execute the particular package thing. So you have to go to that particular GitHub thing, and their account thing means their repository. There they have added all the features and files. So this is the, if you just go to GitHub website, so this will come up, and this will ask like, if you have the GitHub account, you can do the login thing. If you don't have the GitHub account, you can create with sign up option. Okay, so let's see like how the GitHub thing. For example, I have to look for some Git repository. So what I'm saying, I'm going to GitHub thing. So for example, if you simply write GitHub thing, so this is the page which come up. So here the option is like you can sign in if you already have the GitHub account, and if you don't have, so you can create it. Okay, now I'm saying already existing GitHub account, how you can read and see like what information those GitHub page contains. So there was like HBC training module is there on GitHub, which is maintained by Harvard. So basically they provide some course structure, and they cover different topics. For example, they have a topic for the R thing, they have topic for single cell, DEG finding thing, intro to chipset thing. Okay, so this is their GitHub account, and whatever you are looking at these names, so these things are the repository. Repository means the single workspace. So for example, they have 50 repository. When you click on this particular part, you will see, okay, they have different repository. It means like different workspace which is covered for different projects. For example, this repository contains all the files for which they have introduced this R thing, like they are teaching R thing. This is the training module. When you click on this, you will see the entire files and folder structure. Okay, and the main important thing is every time you are creating your own repository in your GitHub account, every time it will have a .readme file. So readme file is important to add a document what exactly your repo is doing. So for example, they have this repository where they have the topics they like they have covered for this bioinformatics workshop. So the entire repo has different files and folders, which is useful for, like for example, if you want to learn the R workshop, so they have provided all the information in the readme file. Like they are going to cover introduction to R workshop, how you can do the cell workshop, and everything. All the details they have added as a documented part in the readme file. And there are other folders in the repo thing, like if you open any folder, you will find subfolder and files that is used, and resources, anything you can read. For example, this is the PDF they have added. So whatever information you want to add, so this is like a structure to store your codes information. Like for example, if you're using Instagram and you want to recommend someone to visit your profile, so what you generally do, you give the link of your Instagram thing. If someone else is going to open that link, that say he or she can directly jump into your Insta profile, and they can visualize all your Insta reels, photos, and videos. Same way, GitHub is like a way to store all your codes. If you are developing any package or feature, you can organize all your codes all your script, everything whatever you are writing in R Python, you can store and organize all the folder structures. But at the end, you have to provide all the information in the readme file so the other users can easily access. So for example, if you are adding any script in the lectures folder, and if I have to execute those script inside the lecture folder, how I can execute? So you have to provide all the information in the readme file. So it will be helpful for the new users, because if you are developing any package, so it will be global, like anyone can use, like whether it should be the ggplot thing, for example, which is used to visualize the plot. If for example the tool which is developed like sam tools, bam tools, so you will find those tools also has a GitHub thing. The people who has developed any package in the recent market, for example, finding the GG markers or finding the marker genes in your samples. So there are different tools people are developing. So they store all the codes in the GitHub thing, and they also provide all the information in the README thing. Now the next thing is, so this one I was explaining. So this is one of example of Git repository, like some other users. So like this is maintained by like Harvard thing. So they have different repository. So this all these all repos like are a global thing. So anyone, this is public thing. So anyone can access this repo. They, you can use their codes to do your analysis thing. Or if you want to learn, you just have to open these folders, follow the content and read, and there are also some lesson script, everything is there, so you can easily open and read the stuffs. Now coming back to the basic terminology for the Git and GitHub thing. So there is two system, local versus report. So what is local? So your laptop and your PC, for example, you are working on your laptop, or whether you are working on Mac system or your system computer, okay, PC. So all are considered as a local system, okay. And remote means like whatever information is available on GitHub, that is considered as a remote. So in coming slides, I'll use the terms like we are pulling the changes from remote, or we are cloning the remote repository in my local system. So that means I'm cloning means I'm downloading all the data or folder from the remote, that means the GitHub source, and copying entire everything in my local system in my laptop, okay. Repository is basically a place where you can store your code, files, each file version, data, everything. That is repository. In simple terms, you can consider as a entire complete folder structure, and get a term that we call repository. The term clone means like you are cloning entire repo to your, on your local system, means clone, like making a clone copy of the entire structure or folder, okay. Now status means like display the status of the code, means if you are doing any changes, and when you ask Git to show me the status, so Git will show the status of both tracked, untracked file and all the changes you are making in those files, okay. So that is the part of the status. Commit means I'm saying, so the workflow is like you have to clone the repository from the GitHub, means you are copying the entire folder and files from any GitHub repository, downloading all the files in your system, that is your local system where you want to use those codes. You can make any changes in the codes, and then you can commit, means you can ask Git to commit those changes. So again, you can push those changes to the remote system. Okay. So get status is like when you do get status, so we can have a four kind of status, that is untracked, modified, stays, and unmodified. Okay. So just remember for as of now these terms. I'll tell you on the system also, the Linux system, to show what is git status, what is git clone with an example. So currently for this particular thing, I'm saying untracked means, for example, you are adding a new file and which is not tracked by Git. That means untracked. Modified status means you are doing a changes and Git will show like you have updated the file. that means modified status. Stays means combination of modification plus adding. Like you are updating a file and then you are adding those files. So this is the combination of stays. Stays means you are doing the modification and then adding. And unmodified means uh, you are not making any changes in the entire file structure of folders. Leave it as it is. So it is like you will get the status unmodified, means you haven't made any modification yet. So these are the four status. Okay, you just have to click on sign up. So it will ask to provide the email ID to create an account on the GitHub thing. Okay, so for example, I can use my this Gmail account. So where it is? Yeah, so I'm using my this Gmail account to create a simple account on GitHub thing. So you just have to continue and you need to set your own password. So I can set my own password. Okay, and just need to continue. And you want to add the username the same way like you see the username in any website, or if you log into any Coursera, you will have the username. If you're logged into GitHub, you should provide the username. So same way you have to provide the username. So right now I'm providing the name of my channel. So Bioinfo, this is my username, and then continue. So I don't want to receive any product updates or announcement. I just put continue. So it will ask for verify your account. So there will be some step of verification thing. So you need to do the verification, and then then you will receive a code on your Gmail account that you have given to. So this is the code. So simply you need to copy the code and place it there. So I'm going to paste. Yeah, so it will ask some basic stuff to start your GitHub account thing. So it will ask like how many team members will be working with you on this project. So for me, like it's just me and I'm a student. Simply click on that and continue. And there is also some features you want to explore. So simply select any random things. There is, and I want to start with free. Like you can also explore this student benefits part. They will provide some free access to some already existed package thing or developer tools, but I'm not interested for that part. So I'm just go for the free thing. So I have created my GitHub account. So to create a GitHub account, you just need a email account or Gmail ID. You can simply GitHub account, and so like the dashboard is quite confusing. So what you have to do, every time you can simply click on that icon. The simple options are here, like you can visit your profile, your repository, what projects you are doing. So for example, when I jump into my profile thing, so it will show whatever the codes or changes you are making. For example, this is that entire month thing. So whenever you are making or updating any files or doing any modification on the GitHub thing, it will show like green thing. For example, today I have started. So I have created this account. So this is the green part. So on 6th April, like I was active on GitHub thing. Okay. For example, after 2 days, I'm creating any files or doing any changes. So it will show me for the 8th of March, 8th of April. Again, I was active in my GitHub account. Okay. As of now, it is showing you don't have any public repository because I haven't added any repo, any projects yet. Okay. So let's go to repository. Okay. And I'm saying I want to create a new repository or new project thing. Okay. So I click on new. You just have to provide the repository name. So for example, so I am giving Git tutorial, okay, and you just have to provide description. This is also option. So uh, I can add Git lessons. So I can add Git basic lessons. This is a description for my repository. And there's an option like public, means anyone can view or access your repository. Like I was saying, these are the public repository. All are the public repository. If you select for the private things, then only you can visualize or access your files in your repository. Other than that, no one can view and visualize your repository. So for now, I'm making it as public. And there is a readme file. You can initially initialize your repository with a readme file, or you can add it later, no issue. And click on create repository. Okay, so this is the my account by Infobite, my user ID, and here I have created one repository, that is Git tutorial. Okay, now within this repo I can add and do and apply any modification, add a lot of files, do any modification I want. Okay, so this is the readme file. Okay, so this has the title, my repository name, and the description. Okay, and you can see there is one commit, that is initial commit, because I have initiated with the readme file. Okay, so that's why this is the first commit. If I do any modification in the readme file, for example, I want to do one more modification, so git basic lesson for, so I am adding git and GitHub. So I have updated the readme file. Okay, so there is an option, because you have to tell git thing to track the changes. So you can visualize this as an example, like git will take a screenshot and store it in the memory thing, like you have made this modification. So how you are going to tell? So the word is commit, means you are saying commit these changes, means add these changes. So there is option like cancel changes, means you don't want to do any modification in the readme file. If you want to do modification in the readme file, you can simply say commit. Yeah, what I did as of now, so I have created a repository. The name of my repository was Git tutorial. I have initiated my repository with readme file. So we have this readme.md file. Initially, the description for or the content of this readme file was Git tutorial and Git basic lessons. Okay, that time we had one commit. Okay, but I have updated this file and added a new line, that and GitHub part. So now it is showing me two commits. If you click on two commits, so the first was initial commit, and then I updated the readme.md file. Okay, so you can create your repo, and now this is the remote thing, like you are doing any modification on GitHub. So this is the remote thing, how you can pull those changes locally. Okay, now we will see those part. Okay, so if you go to the VS Code, you can do it on terminal, but I used to do it on VS Code because it is more flexible to visualize the content, to visualize the changes. So let's see, for example, if you want to copy, let's first try to copy the free available workspace or repository. Okay, so this is the open repository. So for example, I want to clone for the DG workshop. Okay, so how you can clone any remote repository to your local system? So you can say simply there is a code option, and whenever you are going to clone any repository, so you can do it with HTTPS thing. Okay, even you can do with SSH also, but the simple way is doing with HTTPS. Just copy this particular part. So to clone any repository, the command is like, because we are using Git, and then I'm saying clone and providing the repository link that we have just copied. Okay, so and go to your VS Code and providing the link and press enter. What it will do, it will copy the entire content of that repository. So for example, as of now, 20 to 3% files are copied. So yeah, it is done. So we'll compare the files. So for example, in this particular repo, we have a different files, activities, asset, data, exercises. So if you go to that particular repo, so this was the repo I have cloned. We have the entire content, activities, asset, data, exercise. So what I did, I have copied the entire repository that was on remote, that is GitHub, to my local system, that is my laptop. Okay, so this is the first way to clone any repository. A clone is clear, repository is clear, and now the status part. Like I was saying, we can have this 4 status. So what exactly it means? So if we want to use someone else repository, means someone else code, how we can do that? We can copy the code that they have kept in their repository. So what we have to do, either way, you can download each files and keep it in the same folder, but the simple way is to clone. So I can clone the entire repository. Clone means, let's say Akshata has a GitHub account and she has one repository, let's say Python. So she has one repository named Python, and within Python she is maintaining Python projects. So let's say she has 3 Python projects. So you also want to use the Python project and see how the code is working in each Python project. So you will get more idea about Python and other codes. Okay. So how you can achieve that? Either way, you can download each file and run the script on your terminal, or simply way what you can do, you can clone the entire box, means the entire repository in your local system. So this is you. So this is you. So what you have to do, this is your local system, means your PC. This is your local system, and because we are checking for the repository of Akshata, so this will be considered as a remote because we are checking the repository part or the GitHub account repository of Akshata. So this is considered as a remote thing because this is the GitHub and this is you with your PC. So this is the local system. So you can clone the entire repository from Akshata GitHub account and download all everything, files, folder, everything, whatever the file contains, folder contents that are present within this particular repository, you can clone it on your system. Okay, so that's it. That is the terminology, that is clone. Clones means cloning a repository on your local system. I was explaining, so let me clear everything. Yeah, so this is Akshita repository we were discussing, having 3 files, and we first clone it to our PC, and we have the exact files, all 3 files. So when you're going to check the status of the particular repository that we have cloned, it will show unchanged, means there is no modification, no changes is there. Okay, now if you're going to add any files, so then you're going to check the status. It will say there is a new file but we are not tracking. It will say I'm not tracking your files. Whatever the changes you're going to make, I'm not worried about it, whether you're going to delete it or making any modification in the code. I'm not tracking in the history and what are the changes you're making at each step or each version. Okay, so now it's our duty to tell Git, okay, now you have to track these files. Whenever I'm going to switch from version 1 to version 2, you need to tell me what are the changes I have updated in the code. Whether a single line, multiple lines, you need to track and tell me. Okay. So if I am going to explain like it to track the files or modification, then I'm going to check the status. Then it will say you have added or modified one file. Then it is going to track and giving me the status like the file has been modified or updated.
Okay, so up to these three parts. Now the fourth status is stays. Stays in the sense there will be now we have made modification and we need to commit. Commit means we need to reach to a stage and we need to stay. So there are four steps. So first is like clone the repository. Second one is like doing the changes and telling my Git to track the new files I'm going to add, because they are going to track all the existing files and folders. But if you're going to add anything extra, whether the files or folders, you need to update to Git. Now you have to track this particular folder also or files also. This is the second workflow task. Now the third thing is after adding lot of modification and I have reached at a point where I am saying, okay, now I don't want to make any modification. My file is complete and whatever the feature I was covering, I have written all my codes. I don't want any more further modification. So I reach to a stage where I can transfer my data to a stage platform. Stage platform means from there I can commit the changes. Means I can commit, so I can go ahead. I don't want to go revert or do any further modification. So from these changes file, I reach to a stage, means I send to a intermediate level that we call staged. Means now my changes are ready to go. Okay. So for that part, if you're going to check the status at this particular position, you will get whatever the files you have added to a stage level. Means now it is ready to commit. So you will get a status file is ready to be committed. Now you can go for the commit part. Your all the file is stays means it is ready. Step is commit means you are going to commit means you have added the images or you have added the changes. This is like a screenshot. Stage is part like it has taken the screenshot of all the modification and now it is ready for the commit, and whenever you are going to commit, now it will store in the backend memory thing. From image it will store as a backend memory. Okay, you have updated these files, all the files modification are present, everything is there, your track history, who has made the modification, every information will be there. Now up to this part we have committed means we have added all the changes to a level. Now the difference is the main repository from where we have cloned, still they have three files. So I want to update whatever the four files I have added. I also want to update in the main repository from where I have taken the files. So I need to push. Push means whatever changes I made it locally, I need to transfer back it to the main repository. That is the GitHub thing. So that time I need to go for the push thing. So I need to transfer the information. Like these files, I did not make any modification. These files are remain as it is. I have added one more files. Now you can track these files on your GitHub thing. So now in GitHub, I will have four files. If other person is going to clone it, now he or she will have four files instead of three files.
So the entire workflow is like clone the repo, then you have to clone the repo, then you can do any modification, then you are going to tell the Git thing to track and show me the status of the changes. It will show the status, then you can add the changes, and after adding the changes you can commit, means like you are going to fix those changes, means like you are not going to make any further changes in those files, so you are committing. So what it will do, it will take a screenshot and store it in the memory thing. So that is the part of commit thing. After commit, you want to update the same thing in the remote system, because you have made some modification, new modification in your local system, and you want to transfer those changes in the remote system, that is the GitHub. So you need to push those changes to GitHub. So this is your remote system and this is your local system. Okay, so this is the entire workflow from Git and GitHub thing. So you have to use git commands to clone the repository in your local system from GitHub. Then you can do and modify your files. Then you can add those changes. Then you need to commit those files, and then you have to push those changes and those files to your remote workspace, that is your GitHub thing. Okay. So why I'm saying to, so initially we were discussing the Gmail thing, like for example there was feature 1, okay, feature 2, feature 3, okay, and feature 4. So how you're going to cover all the features? So initially we have the main thing, like the main repository, where we only have the background information, uh, like the Gmail icon, every address, okay, and we want to implement the 4 features, like provide the username, there is a forgot option, there is next option, there is a login option. So we want to implement these 4 features. So how you guys can do? So what you have to do, you have to clone the initial repository, starting repository, that we call the main repository or master repository. Okay, you're going to clone that particular features or files, every code in your local system, and then because you have to implement one features, you are going to write the code to cover this particular features. Okay, now you have implemented this particular features in your local system, and now you ran the code and you find out, okay, whatever I have written, the code is working fine. I'm getting the option to provide the user ID, name or phone number. Okay, but this is the changes is available only in your local system. The changes is still not there in the remote system or GitHub thing. So you have to update those changes in the GitHub also. So what you will do, you may you should add the changes, commit the changes, and then push the changes in the GitHub thing. Okay, so now in main GitHub you will have the background thing and additional your feature. Same way the other 3 people who were working on other features is going to push the changes for that particular features. When all the features will be there in the main thing, then we can have the entire feature, means the entire Gmail login website thing. Okay, so this is the way to do the changes for your own task and push those changes to the main branch, that is your GitHub thing. So we learn the clone part and then status part. Now we have to add and commit. So whenever you want to add new changes, or you want to add like whatever the new files you have created, you can add those files in your git area, that is called git staging area. So you have to use the command git add and provide the file name. Okay, and commit is like you are fixing the change, so it is the record of the change. So the syntax for this is you are going to use git and saying commit, and minus m means you are providing a specific message. So this is like what changes you are going to commit, you have to provide those messages. For example, I showed you like in the GitHub thing, in the readme file, I have updated the readme file. So the commit message was updated readme file. Okay. For example, for this person who was working on this user ID, so the commit message will be related to their features. So they can add git commit minus m and update user login button. You are going to push all the changes from your local system to a repository. Okay, so the command for git push is like git push origin and the branch name. So the concept behind this is git branches. So consider this as an example. So you have the entire track thing. Okay, so this is the main branch that we are not going to or do any modification directly. So we are not going to modify any files or any folder in this main branch or main folder, that we call the main branch is called main branch or master branch. Okay, so for example this is the main branch path, And for this is the commit 1, commit 2, commit 3, commit 4. Okay, this is the commit 1, commit 2, commit 3 for the other branch. Okay, so whenever you clone the branch, it's good to create a sub branch or a daughter branch. So this is the main branch, and whatever the changes is going to merge, it should go and merge with the sub branch thing. Why? Because if you are doing any modification in the main branch, sometimes if you do or delete some files, it will create an issue for the entire module or entire pathway thing. Okay, so the owner or who has the ownership of the entire repo is the main who has access to merge any changes in the master branch. Okay, so for example, one project is going on and I have to contribute to some of the files. So for example, we were developing the Gmail website thing. So you guys for like were developing feature 1, feature 2, feature 3, feature 4. Okay, and for example, even I have to contribute for feature 5. I have to add a help button in the website. Okay, so what I have to do, I have to create a separate branch. So what I'll do, I'll clone the repository in my local system, and then I'll create a separate branch. So how we can do that? So for example, right now we have only one branch, that is git main. Okay, if I want to create a separate branch, that is the daughter branch, so you can simply do checkout, git checkout minus p, and give the branch name. So I can say feature 5. I'm developing feature 5. Okay, now again, if you do git branch thing, so you can see like initially I was working on the main branch, then I shifted to feature branch, and this is the new branch just I have created. Okay, and the feature branch will have all the files and folder that was there in main branch because I have created from main branch. So main is like a parent and the sub branch is like a daughter or son. Okay, so what I'm doing, I have cloned the master branch or the repo and then created a sub branch, that is feature 5. Okay, feature 5. What I have to do, I can do any modification and commit the changes. For example, at the first level, because you can't do all the modification at a single time, like because if you are doing some changes, then you will assign someone to review your code. They will tell you, okay, this code is not correct or this is not the way to write the code, you have to modify the code. Then you will do the modification, and then again you will have more commit to resolve those changes. So for example, this is the first commit where I have added a help button. Okay, so by mistake I have written help. What is this one? HE and double ELP. Okay, so this was one minor mistake was there in my first commit. Okay, so I have implemented one feature. I have written a code that will display a help button on the Gmail website. Okay, login portal. Okay, and I am assigning this particular like I am assigning my code to review someone else, like who they are going to review your code, like the changes you are doing to made. Okay, so for example, you are making the changes for this help button thing, and assume like, okay, he gave you feedback thing like the help, the naming or the help thing string is incorrect. The naming should be HELP. There is one minor mistake, you have to remove the extra e. Okay, so what you will do, you will again modify this file and remove this extra e, and again add those files and commit those changes. Okay, now if you're doing again the commit part, so now you will have the commit 2 where you will have the file where this e is not going to be there. Okay, because you have modified the file and removed this particular e. Okay, now this is the second e. Okay, now for example, he asked to change the box color. So for example, you were using brown box, now he asked to update it to white box. Okay, so you will do the modification to update the box color to white. So this will be your third commit. Okay, now you have covered the entire feature as per the requirement, like we need a help button and the button box color should be brown or white. Now you have added, and now you are planning to merge this feature into master. So master will have this help button. So you are going to create a pull request, and that is approved by the owner of this entire repository. If they will accept your request, for example, you have created a PR and they will approve, okay, yeah, I'm approving your changes. Now you can merge these changes to master branch, or you can say main streamline. Okay, then only you will see the features in the master thing. Okay, so this is the workflow, like to work on different projects. For example, in the same project, if many developers are working, so they are working on different daughter branch, and then after doing a lot of changes and doing the commits, and then they have to merge this commit to the main streamline branch. And the way to do it, you have to create a pull request. So some basic commands in the branch thing, it git branch to see the total branch or the branch name, all the branch name for that particular repository. Git branch minus m main means if you want to rename the branch name. Okay, if I want to rename git branch minus m, so we can say now I'm doing git branch. So what I did, I have renamed my branch name from feature 5 to feature 3. Okay, and git checkout means you can switch between different branches, like you have 4 branches for that particular repository and you want to switch for the third branch, so you can do git checkout and provide this branch name. Okay, and git checkout minus b is used to create a new branch. Like if you want to create a new branch, so you can do git checkout minus b and provide the branch name. Okay, and for example, if you want to delete a branch, so you can do git branch minus d and provide the branch name to delete the branch. So these are some basic commands which is very useful when you are working on this GitHub thing to contribute any code thing. So there is one command is git checkout master. So means like when you are in different branch and you want to move to master branch, like previous example, like I was in feature branch and I did git checkout to main branch to shift to main branch. Same way git checkout is used to switch between different branches. Git fetch origin and git pull origin master means like whatever the new changes, because like if 5 developers are working on one stream thing, so if you have created your daughter branch and other 4 people that also have their own daughter branch, if their changes are merged into master, so master is like a kind ahead of your branch, because now master has 3 more additional changes or new features. So what you have to do, you have to pull those changes also in your branch, so it will not show any conflicts. Like, so what you have to do, git fetch origin and git pull origin master means you are saying to git like pull all the recent changes the other people has implemented in the master stream. Okay, this is the same thing to create a branch name, and I have created a new branch with the branch name and I'm doing the checkout. I'm switching to this branch thing. Git status is to visualize the status of the code, like the any changes you have made in any files, what modification you made, either you have deleted any files folder, added any files folder, or added any or doing any modification in the existing files. Git commit, so we have seen git commit and git add as a separate command. Okay, you can do as a separate git add and single thing. Okay, or you can combine both the steps together in a single go, that is git commit minus a. Minus a is used to add all the files, what are the files you are like you are making any modification in those files, so you can add all files at a single go, you don't have to add one by one. So you can use minus a. Minus m is for git commit message and your commit message, like what you are going to commit. Git push origin is like adding or pushing your local changes to git repo, means the remote. So remote, that is GitHub part. Okay, so there is also one command pull the changes from different branch in your working directory. So for example, you want to pull some changes in your branch. So for example, two people are working on similar features, and they are working, they have similar code thing. So you want, instead of copy paste, what you are thinking, like you can pull their branch and do some modification based on your like requirement. Okay, so what you can do, you can pull the other branch changes. So like you can pull the feature 2 branch changes in your feature 3 branch. So you can use git pull, means you are pulling the changes. Other two information, like delete a local branch, like you can simply do, or you can rename a local branch, git branch minus m new name, that we have seen. And same way, if you want to rename it, remote git branching, so there is like a local git branch that you have created on your system, and the remote git branch, so you can also rename and delete the things.
Maintaining the branch name, like for example project name underscore, for example feature name underscore, and the branch, for example your name, for example you're going to write your name Akshata something something, and then 01 or 02. For example, this is the structure they are maintaining. So you need to create all the branches in the same manner. Okay, project name underscore feature name underscore your name, so they can easily track or they can filter out how many projects you have covered, means how many features you have covered, or how many PR you have created. Okay, so you can't give okay abc dot abc branch name, cdf branch name, or any funny branch name. So each branch name should have a standard format that people use to maintain in different companies. Okay, so you need to maintain. So sometimes, for example, you forget to give like instead of feature name, you by mistake give another feature name, or you forget to add underscore. So you can have a rename option. So you can do the renaming part. So to rename a local Git branch, simply you need to first check out to your working branch directory, that is git checkout branch name. And when you want to rename it, need to do git branch minus m and the new name. Let's say like you want to rename the remote git branch. As of now, we are dealing with local git branch. Okay. Now let's say, for example, there are many branches that are there in repository. Now you need to rename it. So how you can do that part? So you need to delete. So as we are doing for the local branch, that is the simple. Just rename it with a simple command. But renaming a remote branch is very difficult or tricky. So don't. It's not a direct thing. So you have to first delete the old remote branch name. Okay, and then need to push a new branch name to the repository. Okay, that you are working. So this is the command to delete the old. So git push origin minus minus delete and giving the old branch name. So for example, in Akshata repository, I have created a branch with one feature. So my branch name was Ashish. Okay. So this is the remote branch because this is present on the GitHub thing. Okay. But if I have to rename the branch that I have created for to merge the changes in Akshata repository, I need to first delete this thing. So I need to do git push origin minus minus delete option and giving the branch name that is Ashish. And then I have to do git push origin minus u for the new name and providing a new branch name. For example, I want to create a new name. So I can provide, instead of new branch name, I need to provide new Ashish. So this is the thing we need to do for the renaming of the remote branch. So renaming local branch is very easy, but this is tricky. So always try to follow the same steps. Otherwise, if you're going to do some different steps, so you may have chance you will lose the branch thing, and again you have to rewrite all the codes, or maybe there will be a chance you disturb the tracking progress. So always try to read how to deal with the remote branch. Locally, you can do anything. You can do any modification. But when you are dealing with the remote branch, other person is going to see what are the things you are going to do and what are the things you are making any changes. Okay. the owner or the company is looking at your branch or your task that you are making changes on the GitHub repository, like you're renaming it or you're doing something. But if you're doing anything locally, they're not going to know. Okay, so always try to remember, follow a standard way to deal with any remote branch, follow a standard way to do the changes, do the commitment with a standard message. Okay, there is one more thing is, for example, we can have a git log, so we can see how many commits we have added for any particular branch. Commit in the sense how many version we have, version of the changes. And let's say, for example, so Akshata was handling this particular branch, so this is version 1, version 2, and version 3. Now when she sent me this particular thing with the new features, I said these particular paragraph or the codes is not needed. Okay, I don't want to. So I said the previous code was fine that we have seen for the version 1. Okay, now she don't have any version 1 code, okay, in her local system, because now she has updated the file from version 1 to version 2, from version 2 to version 3. Now she has a modified code. Now she has two options: either she can write all the codes she has added for the version 1, or what other things, Git has the option to directly jump to that particular commit. Means I can directly jump to that particular version because Git has the information. Git has taken the screenshot of each version, so I can directly jump. So for that part, we need to select the commit where you want to jump. So for example, I want to jump to this particular version 1. So I need to provide the commit name and I can directly jump to this particular commit, and I will have the changes that was at the initial stage. Okay, and I can send it to the user. So this is the thing that you are looking for. Okay, I don't have to do undo or delete the changes manually. I can directly jump to any commit. So for that part, we can have the option git reset minus minus r and giving the hash of the commit, means the commit ID where you want to jump. Okay, so these things we can have in the, that we can deal with the Git and GitHub thing, which is very easy and very useful for managing the folders, managing the structures, managing the data, module, repository, pipeline, script, everything.